Welcome back, and we are going to talk about the body systems today. So remember the organization of the body. We have the whole human body, and that's made up of 11 body systems. We have our body systems that are made up of organs, and those organs are made up of body tissues, and our body tissues are made up of cells. When it comes to the 11 body systems, we will go over the function and the organs involved in each one. And then our class will focus on the skeletal system, the nervous system, the muscular system, the integumentary system, and you get to learn about the others in Bio 202. So when it comes to the cardiovascular system, that is going to include the heart, your arteries and your veins and your blood, while the digestive system includes everything from the mouth all the way to the other end, your anus. So the cardiovascular system transports nutrients and gases around your body. The heart can be around 3 to 5 minutes outside of the body, and the major organs include the heart, blood vessels, and your blood. So some fun facts about your blood is that your red blood cells actually do not have a nuclei. The blood comes in actually shades of red. So when you get into 202, you'll learn that there's no blue blood unless you're a horseshoe crab. Blood just comes in various shades of red, from really bright red to a really dark red. The average heart is the size of a fist in an adult, and your heart rhythm is controlled by an intrinsic electrical conduction system. The digestive system, that's going to function to break down your food and absorb your food. It is one continuous tube-like structure that is over 10 meters or 30 feet long. And this continuous tube begins at the mouth and ends all the way at the other end. It has its own nervous system that's called the enteric nervous system that controls the digestion independently without your conscious awareness. The endocrine system will be your first unit in 202. And this system includes all of your glands, like the thyroid gland, the adrenal gland, your pituitary gland, parathyroid, lots and lots of glands here. While the integumentary system, this is going to be our third unit, and that includes the skin. We will also talk about the hair and the nails. So the endocrine system function is all about hormones and secretion of hormones. Traditional Chinese healers actually practiced endocrinology more than 2,000 years ago. Yet the term hormone is only about a century old, so only about 100 years old. And not all hormones come from the endocrine system. There's going to be a lot of overlap with some other systems, like the reproductive system. And stress can significantly interfere with the endocrine processes, as well as alcohol can significantly impact the system as well. The integumentary system is going to function to protect the body. It is including your skin, your hair, and your nails. So your skin makes up about 15% of your total body weight, and the average adult has almost 21 square feet of skin, and just your skin contains over 11 miles of blood vessels. It's crazy. You have about 60,000 miles of blood vessels in your entire body. That's enough to go around the world twice. And 11 miles of those blood vessels are just in your skin alone. You have two types of skin. There is thin skin and there is thick skin. The thinnest skin of your thin skin is going to be on your eyelids, and you have thick skin only in two locations, on the palms of your hands and the soles of your feet, and it will be thickest on the soles of your feet. The integumentary system includes your skin, which is the largest organ of the body, and your skin actually renews itself every 28 days. We have the next two we'll talk about of the lymphatic system, which is basically your immune system. And so this includes the tonsils, your thymus, the spleen is the largest lymphatic organ, and all of your lymph nodes. If you see those lymphatic vessels, look very similar to the blood vessels. And then we have the muscular system, which is going to include the skeletal muscles and those tendons that connect the muscles to the bone. So with the lymphatic system, the human body can have up to 700 lymph nodes. And these guys work to drain fluid that is around your cells and that has leaked from blood vessels. The largest organ in this system is the spleen, and you can actually live without a spleen because the liver can take up most of its functions, but you will be more prone to infection. And this is the most important part of the body's immune system. The muscular system makes movement possible, and not just like walking through your surroundings, even like the movement of your food through your digestive tract and the movement of blood through your blood vessels. About 40% of your total weight is from your muscular system, and you have over 600 muscles. Of course, your heart is the hardest working one. When it comes to size, you have to really be careful because a lot of people are like, oh, the gluteus maximus is the largest muscle. Well, what context are you talking about here? Because we have the sartorius, that is the longest muscle in the body, and that is from the hip and it goes to the medial portion of the knee. And then there is the latissimus dorsi on the back, which has the largest surface area. And then the gluteus maximus, that's definitely the thickest muscle. And some people have got thicker gluteus maximuses than others. So you got to just kind of be careful when you say largest. And then the smallest muscle in the body is going to be within the ear. The nervous system is going to contain the brain, the spinal cord, and your nerves, while the reproductive system includes those female and male reproductive organs. So, like the ovaries and the testes, or the uterus and the penis. The nervous system is going to detect impulses that come from the senses, and those impulses will be directed to a control center, which is in the central nervous system, so in the brain or the spinal cord. And then a decision will be made and the information will be sent to an effector, which is typically a muscle or a gland. So this is actually going to be the last unit that we end with in this class. If you've ever smacked your elbow on something and it hurts really, really bad, and maybe you've even felt like tingling in your fingers afterwards, and you're like, oh gosh, I hit my funny bone. Well, that funny bone is actually a nerve. It's called the ulnar nerve. And the nervous system can transmit signals at speeds of 100 meters per second. That's 328 feet per second. There are more nerve cells in the human brain than there are stars in the Milky Way galaxy. And you have 43 different pairs of nerves that connect to your central nervous system to the rest of your body. And of that, 12 of those nerve pairs will connect to the brain. The nervous system is probably the most mysterious and complicated systems in our body. The reproductive system is going to function to produce our gametes. It's going to make the cells that are needed for sexual reproduction. So the little fun fact is that this system actually contains the largest cell and the smallest human cell, the largest being the ovum or the egg, and the smallest being sperm. And this is a system that is going to differ between genetic females and genetic males. They will have different reproductive organs. Females can give birth to about 15 to 30 babies in their lifetime, while men is more of a supply and demand type of production. And survival of our species and population growth are dependent on this system. The next three systems we'll talk about are the respiratory system, that includes structures such as the nasal cavity, the larynx, the lungs, and the trachea. The urinary system, that includes the kidneys, the ureter, the bladder, and the urethra. And the skeletal system, that's going to contain those bones, cartilage, and ligaments. The respiratory system is going to function to provide a means of gas exchange, specifically between oxygen and carbon dioxide. The major organs are the lungs, which are your only buoyant organ. Those sinuses that we will learn about in the skeletal system, and the diaphragm, which we'll learn about in the muscular system. But the respiratory system itself, you will study in 201. Adults breathe about 12 to 15 times per minute, while newborns breathe 30 to 60 times per minute. And when your brain senses high levels of carbon dioxide, that means there's not enough oxygen. And that shortage of oxygen or high levels of carbon dioxide detection will trigger us to yawn. And that yawning will draw more oxygen into our lungs and into our bodies. Your nose is a filter. It's a heater and a humidifier. And a lot of that has to do with the hairs that are in our nose and the structures within the nasal cavity that cause turbulence in the air that you breathe in. And your lungs are not the same. When you study the respiratory system, you'll see that the right lungs have three lobes, and the left lung has 2 lobes to make room for the heart. The urinary system is going to filter your blood, and I don't know what came first, if it was the discovery of the kidney bean or the kidneys, but they are very similar in shape. And there is a long tube called a ureter that connects the kidney to the urinary bladder. and that is different from the urethra, which connects the bladder to hopefully the direction of the toilet. Your urine can actually help plants grow because it contains urea, which has nitrogen in it. And your blood is filtered about 300 times a day through those kidneys. As urine is formed, it will pass through those ureters or those thin tubes, and they are lined with a smooth muscle that contracts and expands that allows the urine to flow every 10 to 15 minutes. So if you didn't have a bladder, you would have to urinate every 10 to 15 minutes. Without the skeletal system, you would be one big blob. It's going to support and protect your body, like your brain and the vital organs, such as your lungs and heart within the rib cage, and it will help give your body shape. Your adult human body has 206 of them, but you are born with 300, so you actually lose bones. There are 26 bones in the human foot. The human hand, including the wrist, contains the most bones in your body. There's 54 bones. The femur or the thigh bone is the longest and strongest bone of the human skeleton. And the stapes in the middle ear is the smallest and lightest bone of the human skeleton. And a lot of students don't know this, is that bone is actually a living tissue. We're going to learn about how your bone is constantly broken down and remodeled, and you basically have a new skeleton about every 7 years. So your bones are reshaped throughout your entire life. And we will stop here and carry on with our next lesson. See you next time.